What's good people, it's Kay, and today we're reacting to RWBY Volume 8, Chapter 12. Well, everything is in readiness. It's quite cold right now for this time of year. Even got my blanket and everything. We had last week as a sort of palate cleanser, get everything on the table and out in the open, so that we could basically set the stage for this, whatever is going to happen at the end, for the end of this arc. So, the anticipation, you love it. That looks pretty cool. Damn. What's that thing though? Oh.
Be ready for anything. We don't know what state Penny is in.
If any of those brats have the nerve to come with her, we put them down immediately.
Yeah, sure.
No more games. Is there?
Y'all are gonna lose that fight handily.
Retracing the steps that led us here.
What is it, sir?
Ro and Robin. They're in the Academy hangar.
Trying to stop the payload.
Or just looking
Ah, okay.
Not going to happen. I've been waiting to take my shot at those two. Let's go, Aesops.
But someone needs to stay here with the general. I'll stay. We lose the payload, we lose our leverage.
Look who's back.
Contain it. Now.
What is your game?
Sir, this course of action...
I hope you're not going to try to talk me out.
No, sir. I don't think that's possible.
Here she is.
I didn't think you'd actually come alone.
Wow. Oh, he's got his guns attached to the sides of that thing.
I don't want anyone else to die. I must open the vault.
You've done the right thing.
I have.
Feels weird.
Oh my god. Let's go. Oh my god. This is amazing. God. And Winter helped her, but Winter just pushed her. Wow. Oh my god. There's that move! What was that?
Sorry, guys.
What was that
We
move?
don't want to fight.
We didn't want to drop Atlas either. But we've all had to make some tough calls, huh? Go! Move to phase 2.
Phase 2. Man,
Has to go to the vault. That's actually a risk.
never seen the
We
plan.
hadn't considered.
We've been so worried about keeping the vault closed that we never considered using what's inside. The Staff of Creation.
Maybe we could use it to save Penny and get everyone in Atlas and Mantle back to safety.
Well,
Winter.
you'll never guess who I just heard from.
So...
Wow, that expression.
No. Ironwood's got to be stopped.
Then why did you hit me?
Because you were about to get killed if I didn't do something.
You love to see it.
What are you doing?
What I should have done ages ago. Getting in touch with my sister. We're going to need help.
Aw, ain't that sweet.
Speaking of help,
Hello Team Requiem.
Trapped in
can't evacuate unless we use the staff, which is located inside the vault. If we open the vault, Penny terminates.
Good boy.
If Ironwood gets wind of any of this, he blows up Mantle.
There's something else to consider. Once the staff creates anything else, the city drops.
Mm-hmm.
Atlas has enough natural gravity dust to keep it from plummeting immediately, but, well,
Okay.
nobody's going to want to be around when it touches down.
No, well, it's an understatement.
Okay, then let's use the staff to teleport everyone to safety. Maybe even to another kingdom.
We can't just wave it like a magic wand and make our problems go away.
Well, how does it work
I
then?
told you about him,
Who?
the spirit and the staff, like Jin.
Yeah.
Well, he's a character. He can build you anything.
Lovely.
you want, only if you can explain to him how. Like any craftsman, he'll need blueprints, some sort of reference. It'll help if we have
Interesting.
real-world examples to show him.
I've already gone through the city layouts for the SDC evacuation. Maybe I can help.
This
There's
guy.
still James and his bomb to consider.
Oh, I've got a plan for that.
So, that takes care of phase 1.
Hmm.
Meanwhile, the real Penny goes to the vault. With help.
I blasted a hole through the bottom of Atlas, and I highly doubt they've had time for repairs.
It's a good point. I love it bringing that back.
All of that is the easy part.
As soon as Penny opens the door, we go through, grab the staff, and
Now.
stop her termination.
Just hang in there, Penny. Okay?
Yeah, this is the moment of truth. Ooh, pretty. Time stopped.
Seems someone has come to engage my creative wild.
These spirits, man.
I'll say it had better be worth it after my last project. A floating city? How pedestrian.
Hi,
I knew he was going to say that.
Ambrosius, sir, listen.
Ambrosius.
She's dying.
I'm going to go ahead and assume that you know it's against the rules for me to bring people back from the dead, so...
That's not what we want.
Hang on a minute.
Not your typical girl.
Are they gonna make her human? Like actual human? Like what are they gonna do here?
So she isn't.
Bruh.
I'd love to meet whoever did this.
Speaking of which, where has Pietro and Maria been?
There's
Still been on
something in the
Amity
way.
all this time.
I'm guessing you think you have some clever plan to save her. Just know, I will give you exactly what you asked for, and I don't want any complaining when it's not what you wanted.
We brought her schematics. We want you to make a new version of her.
Wait,
using
what?
her exact same robot parts.
That was curiously worded, girl.
An exact copy of her would include the virus. An exact copy of her without the virus would cease to exist the second you make something else. And we kind of want to keep her around longer than that.
You've done your homework.
Interesting.
We want you to create a new version of her, using her existing robotic parts, taking the virus with them.
Okay, but if I take the robot parts out of her, that would leave...
Penny. The girl who's always been there underneath it.
You can't destroy. It's against the rules. But you wouldn't be destroying her.
Alright, that's the next arc.
Soulless who she is.
Mechanical parts are just... extra.
But a soul without a complete body, what would be left?
I don't know. I guess you just have to get creative.
Yes, very funny.
I suppose
Very
I could
funny.
add a touch of... But if I do that, how much of the old Penny would be my work and how much would be her? Just coming up to the surface. This is all very exciting. and very dangerous. I don't know what the results are going to be.
We don't have any other options. We believe in her.
Then ready yourselves to witness my artistry.
I'm ready, I think. I just got chills.
It's done.
So that's it.
I guess that's the signal then. Seems like things are moving forward in the vault.
Hopefully Penny is going to be okay.
If Atlas is moving, we need to get word out before people panic.
Meaning hurry. I know. Okay, this should be, that did, something?
Come on, Sean.
Everyone can see you.
Bruh.
Citizens of Atlas.
Himbo.
What we have to tell you is very important. Atlas is falling. But
Well,
Wait, what happened?
It's dead. The entire CCTV.
that wasn't as successful as the last emergency broadcast.
Communications? How?
The bigger question is, what do we do now?
That boy said Atlas is falling. Is that true?
Yes. We're using the staff to get everyone to safety. Someone can have the rubble. We'll all be long gone.
Are you going to leave me here?
Good question.
No. When we're finished, we'll move both of you to safety.
Oh, Winter, thank you.
Oh, don't thank me. It was Weiss's decision.
Curious.
Penny?
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, the animation on that is pretty wild. Never thought I'd be so happy to see that.
Okay?
So strange. Oh,
Do hugs always make you feel this warm inside?
oh my goodness. More.
Probably make sure our theory works. And start the evacuation.
Alright.
Free to create and it's you guys again.
We're not done with these.
Fine.
Let's try the quick version. Can you make a bunch of doorways in Atlas that open at a single spot in vacuum?
Sure. I'll just
Wait,
need
that's how we're getting to vacuum?
Store an explanation preventing space and time to account for the much greater traffic on one side and the single point of exit on the other.
Okay, that's about what we expected.
Mm-hmm.
So, we need to funnel everybody through a central location first.
You're going to have to tell me more about this central location for starters. Where is it?
Here. A place like these vaults. Wherever they are, they're
Dimensional pockets. I love that we're doing this.
The right way in. Seems like a safe enough place for thousands of refugees.
You kids are either smarter or much more foolish than you realize. I'm
Perhaps.
going to need a reference.
Oh, we've got one.
This is so cool. I never imagined that we would see something like this. Oh, I see Cordova in there. This is so cool.
People enter from Atlas and Mantle on one side.
and leave on the other side with a one-way ticket to Vacuo.
Well, everything appears to be in order. You were quite thorough. Disappointingly so.
So, it's done.
Yeah.
I can't believe this.
Oh, and one last point of
Wait a minute.
clarification about this central location of yours. Do not fall. Okay, and with that dire warning.
Okay, so that's one thing. But I'm curious now, is Penny still the maiden?
We did it.
Or is she not?
What? Now? We go to Vacuo. All of us.
I guess so.
Hope that we've thought of everything.
Ah, okay. Interesting. So we still haven't seen the extent of her plan yet. That was just so invigorating. It's such a game changer. It was super exciting. Don't you just love seeing something new, something out of nowhere? It just gives you the sense of things you've never thought of before are now like on the table, and you can't say anything until you see them all happen for fear that you'll miss them. I love that feeling when I'm watching something or reading something. This episode came pretty close to breaking my brain as well, live on camera. I was just having my mind blown left and right. There was just so much to digest everywhere I looked. But it was good as well because everything was still coming together in a satisfying way, and I never felt like I was actually getting left behind or stuck, even on the bits that were much trickier to understand. This episode did a good job of boiling down a few of its crazier parts in a way that worked, and I will attempt to demonstrate this by explaining my own interpretation of what happened in the vault. That'll be a little later on. First, let's talk about creation. In the context that this series likes to view it through. Doing the things we previously never thought possible. Taking the world and remaking it. Creation in the service of salvation and progress. The message I get from this episode is mainly about what can happen when you expand your thinking. The hero's entire plan is based on approaching a problem from a new perspective, with new factors in play, using ideas that others haven't even considered. Ironwood wanted to open the vault and use the staff, sure, but he wanted to use it in a really narrow, straightforward way, which could only benefit a narrow band of people for a limited amount of time. Something that's been sort of a subtle note on Atlas all throughout the series is that it's not actually a kingdom known for true creativity. It seems more like a kingdom of application, of looking for functionality and efficiency within a set of defined boundaries. It's a mindset which plays at being visionary and can easily be treated that way when you compare it to the rest of Remnant, but this episode proves pretty clearly that once Atlas became accustomed to being the floating kingdom and all the advancements that came within that, they stopped looking for anything better and became much more focused on just protecting and preserving the way things were. The city, thought of as a symbol of progress, was really a symbol of stagnation, of stifled thinking. Why else is it that a genius like Pietro was so rare, his ideas so outlandish? Because no one else in Atlas, maybe aside from Watts, was actually prepared to embrace true creativity and the disruption that comes with it, not if the potential cost means threatening what they know to be constant. And what really sold it to me was Ambrosius and his little comments on how a floating city is just so pedestrian. And I know he was saying that for effect, but at the same time it makes you think. I'm using a bit of a broad brush for the sake of driving the point home, but I think the interpretation has value. Ironwood wouldn't allow any other possibilities to distract him, and while that has its value in a lot of scenarios, this was a scenario in which that kind of mentality almost doomed countless people. Meanwhile, taking the risk, having faith in something new, might have just saved them all. For now, maybe. Also, now that it's happened, the heroes were right about this being a risk. That was probably a massive understatement. Anything and everything here could have gone wrong. So much could have been lost, and it would have only taken one slip up. But that's not what happened. They were ready in just about every way. I'll paraphrase what I said last episode. It's not as much of a gamble if you can set a little bit of the table yourself, and I'm so proud of them for covering those bases, for truly thinking of everything that you could expect them to think of. I'm proud of them for believing in their success and keeping faith in their goal. Experiencing that kind of success must be just an intoxicating feeling, especially after having to clear the air like they did in the last episode. But there are still 2 whole episodes left. I'm not about to take a sigh of relief just yet. There's quite a bit for the observations here, and a lot of explaining and interpreting to do, so let's get to it. Ironwood's new weapons seemed just crazy. I like how it uses both his pistols in the configuration. That's all. I imagine we'll actually see it used before the season is over, and I'm excited to see what sort of punch it can pack. Emerald's semblance has been going to the gym or something. Not only did she mask an airship and all of Team Orange, she created an illusion that not only turned her into Penny, but gave the impression that she was flying of her own accord. That can only be the result of putting in the reps right there. Her semblance is very clearly not skipping leg day, or any days it looks like. If she decided to PT the other heroes' semblances, I'm sure we would just see some ridiculous nonsense because they'd be getting all the good technical advice, all the motivation. Be like Emerald, and you too could stretch your abilities to just insane levels. That was a really cool fight, more of an ambush, and it's crazy how quickly everything moved. The fast pace works on the story level as well as an audience level, because it essentially puts you in Ironwood's position, having to deal with multiple coordinated attacks all at once, not to mention having to process the betrayal of your top lieutenant, just creating a moment where instinct fully takes over. Compare this to his fight with Watts. It's apples and oranges, but that's more to the point. One-on-one, a situation where you can largely assume what the opponent is capable of, compared to this, where you just get straight up mugged. The fight was over before it started. I also think, when you consider just how quick this fight was, the amount of action involved was really impressive. This RWBY did a fantastic job with the animation. They maximized every second. It's hyper efficient, really. Emerald kicks Ironwood, steals his gun and vanishes. Jordan Ironwood spar. Oscar jumps in and gets punched away. Ren snares Ironwood's ankle, drags him and shoots, but Ironwood shakes loose and fights him off. Nora gets up in the air with Winter's glyph. Ironwood realizes it's Winter betraying him and gets hit with the hammer. As much as I say that the fight was over before it started, it was this moment where he realizes Winter's betrayal and loses his focus for a split second. This is the moment where any chance he may have had just goes out the window. But then, Winter's summon charges him, he stops it head on, Winter and Oscar leap off its back, Winter shoots ice spikes into Ironwood's back, she propels Oscar towards him, Oscar uses that lovely after image cane attack we all remember from the end of season 3, Ironwood catches his finishing strike, and then Winter runs him through with that ridiculous, crazy lightning energy slash which just drops him. I'm not even going to try to count how many beats I just listed, and that's excluding the stuff that happened with the Aesops in the hangar. Ironwood's mugging took roughly about 40 seconds, maybe a little longer, and this RWBY really managed to fit all that detail and choreography into it. That's incredible, truly. Okay, and it's at this point with Ironwood and the Aesops downed that we start to get a sense of just how coordinated this entire plan is, and I actually really enjoyed seeing how everything came together. They were these cuts that just really filled in the gaps between this episode and the last, and I thought having those moments gave the story a real fullness, and it also made the heroes look super impressive. By the way, Winter in the elevator is just a mood, and I'm here for it. Seeing the heroes conference around the dining table was interesting. It asked and answered a bunch of super important questions, and it also opened by posing the main issue, the thesis statement, if you will. Shout out to my fellow essay writers out there. But the main issue is that they need to use the staff to save everyone, but using the staff means opening the vault, and opening the vault means theoretically doom for Penny. And the city is going to fall no matter what. I enjoy that they used Oscar's giant trash chute as a way to just get around Ironwood entirely. I hadn't even thought about that hole until this episode brought it back up, so that was fun. I also appreciate that the staff's vault door opens super quick, unlike the lamp's vault door back at Haven. which was pretty, sure, but also super slow. And so we come to meet another of these relic spirits, who are turning out to possess a lot of energy. Jin and Ambrosius just seem to be super carefree, and it sticks out because there has been an understandable lack of carefree feeling in the show's recent history. But something that I immediately like about Ambrosius is that the more creative the idea, the more he's engaged in it. It's like he wants to learn and understand everything so that the concept of creation can expand even further. So it's clearly important to understand the wording of what RWBY is asking for when it comes to Penny. A new version as opposed to an exact copy. RWBY is saying that they don't want an exact copy of Penny because virus or no virus, the exact copy won't survive. The new version of Penny, on the other hand, can keep the virus, expire, and it won't actually kill Penny as we know her because the Penny as we know her has a soul and is a real girl underneath her parts. Of course though, this is the point where all the coordination and the theorizing just goes out the window and we're left to just take a risk. To just, as Y says, believe in her. I love that you can feel their faith in Penny, a faith that persists no matter how much trouble she's been in this season. They just believe that with this plan, they don't know what's going to happen, but they just have faith that it'll work out. Look at this dude, John, hunt and pecking on that keyboard. I wonder though, they didn't seem to think that the communications going down was the result of Atlas itself beginning to fall, which might have been my first thought, but now, and I didn't pick up on it at all during the reaction, but I'm thinking that Watts did this somehow. It didn't occur to me at all because we just didn't see him or hear from him. I remember way back, around the time when it was clear that Watts was going to hack Penny, I saw a theory out there somewhere that the season would culminate with the heroes using the Staff of Creation to turn Penny into a real girl. That's some real big brain shit right there. I am eternally here for Penny just hugging Team RWBY over and over again. Make this a GIF and share it with the good people in your life. But it is probably worth asking what she can still do. How much of a fighter is this new/old Penny, even with the maiden powers? So much of her combat readiness came from her parts that it's hard to imagine what this Penny can do. She still has her intelligence, but can she use her swords in any way? I mean, if this weakens her as a fighter, then that's going to be very interesting going forward. She may have to relearn herself, and we may also have to relearn our expectations for her. The portal network, that's a bit tougher for me to explain. Okay, so the best I can see, you start by building one giant room. Then you put in the destination door, the gate to vacuo in this case. Once that's done, you put in a ton of entry doors connecting to specific points around Atlas and Mantle. When people go through those doors, they enter the giant room, and are then able to go through the exit and wind up in vacuo. The people in the crater can enter the giant room, the people in the subway can enter the giant room, Team RWBY plus Penny will enter the giant room because their portal in the vault also leads there. All the portals lead to this new dimensional space, and thus to the wastelands once you go through that door. I'm sure I'll get pulled up if I missed something there, but that is the best way that I interpret it. Something trivial as well. IRONWOOD previously said that the staff could only be used for one purpose at a time, and I feel like the show was walking a very fine line with that rule when it decided to recreate Penny and then create the portal system. Like, think about if they had decided to create the portals first and they would do the Penny thing afterwards. I imagine that would have involved collapsing the portal network and then having to put it back up again once the Penny thing was done. And that would have been really dumb, which is why we didn't see that. I don't really know what my point is. I think I'm just trying to clarify the entire idea of the staff in my head. I think because for so long all we've had to go on was our experiences with the lamp, which was fairly easy to understand. Just seeing the ridiculous amount of freedom the staff grants its users is still just blowing my mind a little bit. And I also wonder what will happen when everyone's through the portal and in vacuo, because why would you bother keeping the portals up? Surely you would just collapse the network and use the staff to create something else, and I wonder what that would be. The end of the episode just straight up teases some massively consequential shit. Do not fall. Not only that, but Cinder's coming through too. Are we really going to have a fight? Are we really going to have a huge fight inside this wild new extra dimensional room? That sounds insane. I can't even conceive of how this is going to turn out. Or maybe Cinder will keep it incognito and just blend into the migrating masses, and she'll just wind up in vacuo as part part of the crowd. But I think it's that warning, do not fall, that just tells me that moving through the portal room is not going to go as easily as we think it might. In closing, creation can be read as a lesson in a few ideas: faith, inspiration, mental clarity, just to name a few. As an episode, it really is a triumph of imagination and, yes, creative solutions. It puts a pause on the pain and misery I've been droning on about this season, and it allows us to feel the rays of relief which have never felt so welcome in this series. It gives us love with the rebirth and recreation of a character who deserves only good things. It gives us hope with a window into salvation for the masses, and it gives us a sense of finality, of something being crossed off the to-do list, something being finished, however premature that feeling may turn out to be. But my god, the possibilities. This episode closes so many long-standing threads, and then it just creates new ones spinning off them. It's exciting, it's an adrenaline rush, and I just cannot wait to see how this ends. So that's how I'm feeling. Every week lately, I feel like my grades for these episodes are getting to be more and more tentative, especially this one. This is the first A I've handed out this season, but I'm fully aware that the final 2 episodes could make this grade look silly. Perhaps this is the best time to say that when I do my full season review, and I will be doing a full season review at some point, all these grades will be reassessed. I think that's only fair because it will be a truer reflection on how I viewed these episodes in the context of the completed season, and even if I change some grades, they probably won't be drastic changes. Maybe a B+ becomes a B, the A for this episode becomes an A-. This season in particular has been super tricky because all these episodes have been of a similar high quality that when it comes time to grade, it can really be a few things that make the difference. I think back to like Volume 5 and 6, this grading shit was so much easier back then. Oh well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.